Can you hear me? Good afternoon, class. Can you hear me? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's start. Can you see my screen? Students, is it visible? Anybody please respond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let's start. So last time we are discussing about what are the different conventional sources of energy. So we'll continue this discussion. So next conventional source of energy is thermal power plant. So this is the schematic diagram of a thermal power plant. So large amount of fossil fuel there. Here we burn large amount of fossil fuels every day in power station to heat up the water to produce steam, which further runs the turbine to generate electricity. The transmission of electricity more efficient than transporting coal or petroleum over the same distance. Therefore, many thermal power plants are set up near coal or oil fields. The term thermal power plant is used since fuel is burned to produce heat energy, which is converted into electrical energy. So this is the schematic diagram of a power plant. So this is boiler. So here we insert the water. So we heat up the water to produce vapor. So we can use this coal or petroleum products to heat up the uh, water and produce steam. So this tank is for to expel this water, the smoke generated during the heating up process. So this steam then goes to the turbine, and so this steam then goes to the turbine. Then this turbine runs and produce electricity. Then this produced electricity is distributed through these transmission lines. And what are the water vapor that is left behind in the turbine? It gets into this condenser. Here we cool down this uh, uh, warm water with the help of these cooling towers. So after cooling this water vapor, it will then turns into water. Then we then pump this water to the condenser, and uh, as per the requirement, we use this cold water to the boiler. So this is the cyclic process. So where we use the water vapor, then we again produce water using condenser, then it will again pump to the boiler. So this is the main functioning of thermal power plant. So next is the hydro power plant. So another traditional source of energy was kinetic energy of flowing water or potential energy of water at the height. Hydropower plants convert the potential energy of falling water into electricity. Since there are very few waterfalls which could be used as a source of potential energy, hydropower plants are associated with dams. In last century, there are a large number of dams were built all over the world. So, to produce hydropower, we need sufficient amount of kinetic energy. So, there are very few that is rivers are that is capable of producing that amount of kinetic energy. So, to generate more kinetic energy, what we do, we produce a dam. So, in them we store a large amount of water. So, after constructing this dam, the height of the water increase. That is the head. As the head increases, the velocity of the water also increase. So what we do after storing this water, so we release this valve. So from this well, the water is flow at a very high speed, and which we use to run turbine and to produce electricity. So there are few consequences of using uh, this dam to constructing dam in uh, a river. So in order to produce hydroelectricity, high-rise dams are constructed on river to obstruct the flow of water and thereby collect water in larger reservoirs. The water level rises in this process, and the kinetic energy of flowing water gets transformed into potential energy. But construction of big dams have certain problems associated with it. The dams can be constructed only a limited number of places, preferably in hilly terrains. A- Large areas of agriculture, lands, and human habitats are to be sacrificed as they get submerged. Large ecosystems are destroyed when submerged under the water in the dam. So what it does when we build a certain dam in a river, so the water level rises in the upstream of the dam. So due to this process, a large area of the agricultural land or this natural habitat or forest land is submerged underwater. So due to this, the ecological system, the environment gets destroyed. So this is the picture showing the natural phenomena that's occur in a water where there is no damage speed. So what are the different work done by this river, that is transportation of debris. So these debris don't get settled due to these turbidities. Their vortex are formed inside this water. So due to this sediments that's transported, they don't settle in the bottom of the river. So there you can see this river is also a spawning ground for these different fish and all these aquatic animals. So after when we 1 minute, some people are waiting. So please be in time. It is difficult for me. It, okay. So after dam has been constructed, so there are different impacts that has been occurred due to the construction of dam. These impactors, this natural friction, water quality of oxygen, turbidity flow, circulation of available habitats, reverse ability to adjust horizontal vertically, reduce and resilience to the change. The water these things increase the pollutant that is accumulated in the upstream of the rivers, it is increased. Also these stratifications, all these debris get accumulated in the reservoir, and this is also act as a spawning ground to different kind of algae or all unwanted stuff. So this also it loses the natural transporting capacity of the river and the nutrients that it carries from the upstream. So due to this obstruction, the nutrients cannot transport in from upstream to downstream. So this also suffered by this all these downstream animals and also the fish and all these things that is dependent on this river. So what are the downstream impact? So it reduces the water quality and river elevation. As you see, due to construction of this dam, the depth of the river has decreased in downstream. So this is also problematic for some aquatic elements. So this difficult to survive in this shallow waters. So also there is less nutrients that is available in the downstream side. So there are some improvement in this conventional source of energy. So one improved method of conventional source of energy is biomass. So what is biomass? So we generally call this as a gobar gas. Gobar gas. So cow dung and various plant matures like the residue after harvesting the crops, vegetable waste, sewage are decomposed in absence of oxygen to give biogas. Since the starting material is mainly cow dung, it is popularly known as gobar gas. So this is the typical gobar gas or the biogas plants. So the plant has a dome-like structure built in thin bricks. A slurry of cow dung and water is made in the mixing tank from where it is fed into the digester. The digester is a sealed chamber in which there is no oxygen. Anaerobic microorganisms that do not require oxygen decompose or break down the complex compounds of cow dung slurry. It takes few days for the decomposition process to be complete and generate gases like methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. The biogas is stored in the gas tank above from which they are drawn through pipes for use. So this is where we mix the gobar or the cow dung with water and we put it here. So it is like a slurry. So it's a very liquid substance. We put it in this chamber. We put it in this chamber. So it flows in this big chamber that is called digester. In digester, that is different kind of anaerobic microorganism who decompose this uh, uh, cow dung or different various plants material to release different kind of gases. So these gases contains methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and hydrogen sulfide. So since this is a sealed chamber, so the gases could not escape from this chamber and it gets accumulated in the upper part of this dome. So after accumulation of sufficient amount of gases, we can tap these gases to use in our household purposes. And whatever left behind in this digester sample, we can use as a manure or as a fertilizer in our crops. So, so another type of energy source is wind energy. So this is the typical windmill that we see in our uh, everyday life. This is what actually wind does. It actually converts this kinetic energy of wind into electrical energy. So the kinetic energy of wind can be used to do work. This energy was harnessed by windmills in the past to do mechanical work.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, one of my friend Akib is waiting in lobby. Sir, please admit him.
Okay. 1 minute.
Thank you, sir.
So please be in time. Next time I won't allow them. Okay. This is the last time I'm admitting someone. So, where I was. So the kinetic, uh, energy was harnessed by windmill in the past to do mechanical work. For example, in uh, water lifting pump, rotary motion of the windmill is utilized to lift water from the well. Today, wind energy is also used to generate electricity. A windmill essentially consists of structure similar to the large electric fan is erected at some height on the rigid support. So this is the typical configuration of a windmill. You can see thus, to generate electricity, the rotary motion of the windmill is used to turn the turbine of the electric generator. So there is a turbine that is this end of this portion. You can see there is a turbine. So when it rotates, it actually produces some electrical energy that we can use in our everyday life. So the output of a single windmill is quite small and cannot be used for commercial purpose. Therefore, a number of windmills are erected over the large area which is known as wind energy farm. The energy output of each windmill in a farm is coupled together to get electricity on commercial stage. So when we see some windmill in construction, there is not one windmill we construct. We construct a several windmill in a large area. So what are the different characteristics of this wind farm? So this large group of these windmills that is we construct that is called wind farm. So we actually select such kind of area where there is an abundance of wind energy. That is throughout the year there is a consistent supply of wind in this area. So we selected such area to construct a wind farm. So for this, we use this meteorological data or wind speed and study. There are several kind of study we have to taken care of before establishing a wind farm. So that will you can study in your further process. So there, till now we are discussing about what are the conventional sources of energy. So these are some non-conventional sources of energy. The first sources of energy is solar energy. Actually, the sun has been radiating an enormous amount of energy at present at the rate of 5 billion years and will continue radiating at the rate of about 5 billion years more. Only a small part of solar energy reaches outer layer of Earth's atmosphere. Nearly half of it is absorbed while passing through this atmosphere, and the rest reaches the Earth's surface. A typical how can we produce use this solar energy in our use? So for this, we generally use the solar cells. So we don't use a single solar cells. We use a bunch of solar cells. So a typical solar cell develop around 0.05 to 1 volt and produce about 0.7 watt of electricity. So when we combine a large amount of solar cell in series, so we can produce a large amount of electricity and use in our practical use. So another different type of energy from the sea is tidal energy. Due to the gravitational pull, mainly the moon on the spinning earth, the level of water in sea rises and falls. If you live near the sea or ever travel to some places near the sea, try to observe how the sea level changes during the day. This phenomenon is called high and low tides, and difference of sea level is give the tidal energy. The tidal energy is harnessed by constructing dam across the narrow opening of the sea. A turbine is fixed at the opening of the dam convert this tidal energy to electricity. As you can guess, the location where the dam can be built are limited. So this is similar to this gravity dam that we have already discussed. So here we use the phenomena of high tide and low tide. During this high tide, we uh, try to accumulate this water at some narrow region of the sea. Then during this low tide, we tap this. We open the then to produce a high stream of water which in turn runs the turbine to produce electricity. So another form of energy is the wave energy. Similarly, the kinetic energy possessed by the huge waves near the seashore can be tapped in a similar manner to generate electricity. The waves are generated by strong wind blowing across the sea. Wave energy would be viable proposition only where the waves are very strong. A wide variety of devices have been developed to trap the energy uh, for rotation of turbine and production of electricity. So what is the main difference between tidal energy and wave energy? The tidal energy is due to this phenomena of gravitational pull of earth and moon, and the wave energy due to this uh, wind. So here it is gravitational force is the main consequence behind this tidal energy, and for wave energy the wind is the main source for this wave energy. So another source of energy is ocean thermal energy. The water at the surface of the sea or the ocean is heated up by sun, while the water in deeper section is relatively cold. This difference of temperature is exploited to obtain energy in ocean thermal energy conversion plant. This plant can operate if the temperature difference between the water at the surface and the water at the depth of 2 km is 20 degree or more. The warm surface water is used to boil a volatile liquid like ammonia. The vapor of the liquids are then used to run the turbine of the generator. The cold water from the depth of the ocean is pumped up and condense the vapor again to liquid. So use the differential heat uh, temperature of the ocean. So at the top the temperature is high, at the bottom the temperature is low. So we use the hot water to produce vapor and uh, this cold water to cool this vapor. So I think I have a meeting to attend. So today this will be it. So next time we'll discuss this geothermal energy and another different source of energy. So you please put your attendance in the chat box. Thank you. Please put your attendance in the chat box.